My project is on substance abuse prevention and is targeted to middle schoolers to early high schoolers, focusing on ages like 12 to 15, and it focuses on empowerment. So it teaches them how to say no, say what they believe in, and hopefully it teaches them a belief that is anti-drug. So it goes through like teaching them, like showing them first like the dangers of it and everything, and then it shows like how it can affect not only themselves but loved ones, and try to really like have it strike home that like this is a big deal and like there's so much to lose and all that stuff. So they make the stand to never do drugs. Then once they have that stand, it brings it out and they have them be able to debate that stand and use it in real life scenarios. Like if someone offers them substances, they can say no and remember why they don't want to, and that will help them avoid it altogether. So, in this particular method, what it aims to do is it looks to um, help kids just say no to drugs. So, it has two different parts, and the first part is that it looks so like when a kid can't say no and they cave in on their belief system, they'll have excuses for themselves like, oh, like it's just this one time, like a little bit won't hurt, that kind of stuff. And it really like makes them go. It makes the student go through these excuses and break them down, like why they're not effective, why they don't really make that much sense, and why they shouldn't be used. And this is done so that if in a situation that a student is having difficulty expressing himself and saying no to a certain person who's trying to like badger him into using, that they'll think of it and think of like they'll think, oh, maybe just this one time, and then they'll remember this lesson and then do the opposite. So that's what that's trying to do. And then after that, it moves on to a the steps of saying no. So in certain situations, kids don't know how to say no. Like if people keep badgering them after they say no the first time, they really don't know what to say. So what it does is it gives them more options, gives them like a broader like knowledge on how to say no to someone who's badgering them, and hopefully that makes it so they can be more persistent and more confident and really just like enforce a belief system and just like be able to express it mainly. And then at the very end, I put in a short little role play. This will be done on a larger scale if it was actually being performed. But for this scenario, just for my small group, I want them to be able to try and reenact some of the methods they just learned in the program. So hopefully you enjoy it, and that's it. All right. So when we're talking about drugs or really anything in life, it's hard to say no, especially when you're close to the person you're talking to. So if someone like offers you drugs or offers you to do something that you know you're not supposed to do, as they're a close friend, you're likely more likely to say yes. It's hard to say no and like really go against the grain, especially like all your friends doing it. So when people don't say no and actually do the activity that they, even though they know it's wrong, they try to make excuses for themselves to justify it. And what I want you guys to do is I'm gonna give you some of these excuses. And I want you to like debunk them. So you're gonna like look at the excuse and tell me like why it's not a good excuse actually. All right. So the first one is like just one time or like a little bit won't hurt. Like what's wrong with that?
Because you shouldn't. Then like you can just skip out on it one time. Like, and also once you do it one time, you can get addicted to it, and that could hurt you in the long run.
Yep, exactly. Every single time you do drugs, like you run a chance of like getting addicted.
Yeah.
Right? There's always an inherent risk, right? And like with things like alcohol and stuff, like if you like drink one time and like you like get drunk and whatnot, you might do something you might end up regretting.
Yeah.
Wrong. All right. And the next one is everyone's doing it. Why is that not a good excuse?
Because you're your own self and you can do whatever you want.
Yep.
And also like the other people, they could like let's say like all your friends are drunk and then you're not, and like you have to drive home, like you'll be the responsible one to not kill your friends. But if you get drunk and you all get in a car, you're most likely to get in an accident, and then you all get in jail.
Everyone's just because everyone's doing it, you don't have to do it too. Like people want to fit in, but really like you can just be yourself and be a leader, and like if people like that, then they'll come along with you. So don't feel the need to like follow other people's activities. And then next one is I don't want to be left out. It's kind of along the same lines of like everyone's doing it. Why is that?
Well, I mean, that's just saying, like, if you don't do it, then, like, you're not their friend. Like, it's saying, like, oh, if you want to be our friend, then you have to do what we're doing. Like, you're basically a follower and not a leader.
Oh, and also, wait, never mind.
Okay. And then the next one is like I've been really stressed lately, and this will help me relax.
Not to do that because you could get more stressed because something bad could happen.
That's good. Anything else? Also, another big thing is like there's other ways to relax. Like a lot of people think.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I have a good idea. You could go to the spa and get like a back massage, or like get like hot stones on your back
Yeah,
and like relax that way.
There's always an alternative. So whenever you're gonna do something like this, there's always a more healthy way to relax or have fun. Like you don't have to drink and stuff like that. You can.
Oh, you could
always
also go for a run.
Great. You can improve yourself and start hurting yourself. And then if I don't do this, they'll think I'm like lame or something. So like you're talking about, like they won't accept me.
That's not true because they could be too high or too drunk to actually know you actually did it. Or you could pretend you do it and like pour it out that way. And, like there's other ways to fit in, not have to do the bad thing.
Yeah, but they should like you for who you are and not what you do. Like, they should just respect you in how you live life instead of what they want you to do instead of what you want to do.
Exactly. If they're gonna be your friend, they're gonna be your friend regardless of like what your personal preferences are. Like, you don't have to do something. That's what they want you to do. They're not actually true friends.
Yeah.
And then another one along those lines, like if I don't do this, like they'll get mad.
They shouldn't get mad because it's your own thing. Just like if you have your own religion, why would you get mad at the other person just because they're another religion?
And then the last one is people think that they're young and like doing stuff like this, like it won't hurt them.
It would actually hurt you more because it could damage your organs before they're fully developed, like your brain, because it doesn't develop until like your 20s, and like it can impair your brain cells and like actually hurt you.
And if you start a drug, it can be a gateway to other drugs, and you just kind of get in all this like chaos, and sometimes you can't like find a way out.
Like some drugs can be like very addictive. Like you could never get like it's really really hard to get off of. Like tobacco isn't like bad, but it's still addictive. But like heroin or like cocaine, it's harder to get off of.
Yeah, like once you do it once, you start to do it like every day. Like you start doing it once a
Because
day,
your body thinks you need it.
and then like twice a day, and then you just start doing it more often than you should be doing.
In your brain, it's like eating like if you're addicted to ice cream or something. It's like you really want the ice cream, you really want that drug.
Like everything you just said, if you do it once, there's a risk that something could go wrong, you get hurt. And then also, like with things that you might not think that's dangerous, like oh, it's just like a few drinks and whatnot. When you do that, like you enter like a kind of like scene. So like those people who are offering you drinks, like having you drink at their age, or, like smoke weed and stuff like that, they're part of another group with like the hard drugs and whatnot. And once you say yes to one, it's a lot easier to say yes to the next time.
Yeah.
Because you start to trust that person. Like, oh, he told me to do this time. Next time, I can trust him. Like,
And they're
he's
making
looking out
money
for my
off
best
of it.
interest.
They're just trying to manipulate you for they can make money for their drug dealer.
They offer number one. Because if they actually cared about you, they wouldn't be forcing you to do things like that.
Yeah.
Alright, so why do you guys think people can't say no? Like when a friend asks them, like, do you want to do drugs and stuff like that, like, why can't they say no?
Because people think like they have to do it to like keep their friendship, and that the person's gonna get mad at them or leave them just because they didn't do it.
Exactly. So that's a good question. And then, what do you think is the right way to say no?
To say like
just give an excuse about like why you can't do it. Like any
Or,
excuse
like-
of not doing it is to
or like
fine.
just be truthful and say like
It's bad for you.
I don't want to do this. I don't value it,
Okay.
or something like that.
It can hurt your personal life in the future.
You guys can do it, but I don't want to.
So I really, have you guys ever had like a situation where someone's like asked you to do something that you weren't supposed to?
Yeah, at a football game, these kids came up to me and said, "Do you want to try weed in the back?" And I was like, "No, sorry." And then they just walked away. It wasn't like really pressure, but like they still came up and asked.
Yeah, same thing. Like I was at Lakeview Park, and so many kids were like in the woods, like smoking weed and like cigarettes, and like they all came up to me and was like, "Oh, do you want to try it?" And I said no, and then they were like, they gave me like a look, and they walked away.
So those are like both like things that happen like all the time, and like one of the first things that like you learn about like the most important step to saying no is you just have to say no and be confident about it. So like when you both the way you guys handle the situation is they asked you, you just confidently said like no, like no thank you, like I'm not interested, and then like they accept that and walk away. Most of the times that is how it will work, but every now and again there's someone who like will be persistent, and it seems to be like people who are closest to you are the ones who will be most persistent. So there's certain things that you're supposed to do when someone asks you if you want to use drugs. So the first one is to be confident and just say no, and then usually that'll work. And then if asked again, just keep on saying no. So don't like lose faith. What's important is if you believe what you're saying, if you believe like your ideals, like I never want to do drugs, something like that, I don't want to do drugs, I want to drink. If you believe that, when you say no, like it'll it'll show through your voice. Alright? And then you can some things that might help is you can state your opinion, like I don't want to do that, like that's just not me, like I'm not into that kind of thing. And then you can give an excuse. It's not always the best way because like if you know them, like giving an excuse like opens them up to like come back later and like ask again. So it's best to like just nip in the bud when you can, but if you're in an uncomfortable situation you have to, by all means use an excuse. And then one thing that they tell you to do is when confronted and they like keep badgering you and whatnot, like just ask them like, why do you want me to use it so bad? Like why is this so important to you that you keep pestering me? And then if they answer that and keep on telling you to use it, just like accuse them of using peer pressure. Because they don't want, like no one wants to be accused of being like actually pressuring you to do it. Like even though they are doing it, they don't see themselves in doing it. So when you call them out on it, that can actually get them to stop. Alright?
Because they're embarrassed.
Yeah, they're embarrassed, and like they don't want to be that guy to like pressure people into doing things like that. And then worst case is you always have the option to just turn your back and walk away.
Yeah.
Like whatever situation you're in, just leave it, and then they'll know you see it. Just say no one more time and just walk out.
Unless other bad things occur.
Like what?
Like someone putting a gun to your head and someone's taking.
That's not really.
Well, not like
realistic.
I mean, you're dealing with drug dealers, so you never know.
Well, usually the people who get you to start in the first place are usually not drug dealers. And those, if it was a situation where it was a drug dealer, they have other options. They don't need your business that bad.
Yeah.
So usually it's like friends who keep badgering you because other people they don't care. They're just trying to like get you used one time. Some people just see it as like hanging out. Like this is what they do to hang out, and you're like new to the group, so it's like oh I'll be nice and off with them.
Yeah.
And then once you say no, they're like all right.
Some people like do like drugs just to like get along with other people.
Yeah.
Like that's
exactly.
the thing they have.
That's like the social drinking, social like smoking and all that. Like that's like a big problem because like people just think it's like this is normal, this I should relax. But really it can lead to much worse things. Alright? And the easiest way is just to like avoid the situation altogether. So
And
like
don't let them get in your head.
yeah, exactly. If you're confident like this is what I want and I don't want to do drugs, then no amount of like badgering and whatnot is gonna convince you otherwise. So you just gotta stand firm in your ideals. Right? And then a good thing to do is just avoid the situation altogether. If you're invited to something that you know like there's probably gonna be drinking there, there's probably gonna be people smoking weed there, and I don't really want to deal with that, then just avoid it altogether. And then like tell your friend like, how about we do this instead? Right?
Go with another
Yeah,
option.
exactly. If you have the other option and it's your friend, you can voice a concern like, oh I don't really want to be around that.
Or just like go hang out with someone else. You don't
Yeah,
hang
exactly.
out with that person.
Exactly. And then if you are stuck in a situation where you feel obligated to go with something and you know that there might be stuff like that, just think beforehand. Like come up with a scenario, like think about what you're gonna say. Like if someone offers me, I'm just gonna say no, like I don't like that kind of stuff.
Have
And
like
then just-
situations already in your head and how you'll deal with
Yeah,
it.
have it in your head, because that way when it comes up, you'll say it quick, and you'll be confident, and it'll be over. Alright?
Mhm.
That's sufficient. Alright, to go over what we just learned, we're going to do a short little reenactment, some role playing, and we're going to have 2 students play the role of trying to pressure the other 2 students into it, and this is it.
Scene.
Hey.
What's up, Wade?
No, I'm okay.
Why?
I just don't want to start.
But it's gonna be fun.
Nah, I'm really fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Positive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just.
It's only like $5.
Let's go.
Let's just
No,
go.
no, thank you.